Has a full moon ever looked so small? That's one of the topics we're explaining today on CNN 10. Thank you for watching this Friday. I'm Carl Azuz at the CNN Center. First story takes us to the hurricane-struck Bahamas, where search and rescue crews are combing their way through the islands of Abaco and Grand Bahama. They took a direct hit from Hurricane Dorian on September 1st. It roared over those islands as a Category 5 hurricane, and it left roughly 70,000 people homeless. Officials say at least 50 people were killed, but the Bahamian government expects that number will go up a lot as more areas are explored. The number of people who are missing is 1,300. Previously, the government had said almost twice as many people were unaccounted for, but on Thursday, after comparing information from different records, officials revised their count. The Bahamian government is trying to set up housing for people who've lost their homes. It says it's committed to restoring their lives and rebuilding their communities. The U.S. government is helping the island nation with everything from keeping track of the missing to getting supplies to those in need. American officials say they've made their first check of the hard-hit northern islands, and the U.S. Coast Guard says it's rescued more than 400 people so far. The British government is also helping out. The commanding officer of a British supply ship says some people on Little Abaco Island were completely cut off by the hurricane, that they hadn't seen anyone outside of their community since the storm hit, and that they were out of food and water when the ship arrived. 10-second trivia. Which word best describes the path of the moon's orbit around the Earth? Circular, helical, elliptical, or toroidal? The moon's orbit is elliptical, which means it's not always the same distance from Earth. It's a full moon and a harvest moon and a micromoon and a Friday the 13th moon. If you see the moon tonight, you're seeing an example of how Fridays are awesome. Here's what's happening. The entire circular disk of the moon will be lit up tonight, making it a full moon. And because it's the full moon that occurs closest to the autumnal equinox, the first day of fall, that makes it a harvest moon. But here's where things get amusing. The moon is also an apogee, its farthest point away from Earth, so scientists say it'll appear smaller than a full moon normally does. That makes it what they call a micromoon, and this is all happening on Friday the 13th, so the date makes this a super rare full harvest micromoon. How rare? Affiliate KNWA says the last time a full moon was at apogee on this date was in 1832, and the next time all this will happen is in the year 2524. So you moon-eyed moon gazers should try to get a glimpse of our nearest natural satellite tonight, because you're going to have to wait a long time to see it again.
Many of the moon's nicknames date back to the early Native Americans. They named each full moon in every month to help them keep track of their planting and harvesting schedule. The full moon in April is known as the pink moon, signaling the first appearance of the wild ground phlox, one of the earliest spring flowers.
When you have two full moons in a calendar month, the second one is called the blue moon. One of the more notable moons, the harvest moon in October, also known as the hunter's moon or the blood moon.
This is when the leaves are falling off the trees and the animals are fat. So this signaled to tribes it was time to hunt all they could to get them through that long winter. And another thing to note is that the moon does not appear pink during the pink moon, red during the blood moon, or blue during the blue moon. The only thing that can really alter the way we see the moon is if there's a lot of dust, haze, ash, or smoke in the atmosphere. The moon can sometimes have an orange or red glow.
CNN Heroes profiles everyday folks from around the world who are taking steps to help their communities and having an extraordinary impact on them. So it makes sense that someone whose organization provides people in need with food, clothing, and emotional support would be part of this series. Najah Bazi is a CNN hero for her work that began in Detroit, Michigan.
In my faith tradition, there's a beautiful saying, pray for your neighbor before yourself. It just means that other people count. We have a human responsibility to care for one another. Working as a nurse, I went to visit this Iraqi refugee family and an infant that was dying. And there at the house, they absolutely had nothing. There was no refrigerator, there was no stove, there was no crib. The baby was in a laundry basket. I was so devastated by that. I decided that this wasn't going to happen on my watch. For many years, we existed out of the back of my van. Do you need anything?
No, good, thank you.
Now, our clients come to a one-stop shop to get all of their essential basic needs. What we do here is provide food, clothing, and shelter, and a whole lot of love.
For food, it's every 30 days, and then we can go to the pantry and explain that to you after.
We focus on women with children living in extreme poverty. All that matters here is, what do you need? Our Good Deeds resale shop is open to the public. Our mothers are able to come, they get a voucher, and they have the same dignified shopping experience as somebody else, but not have to pay for it.
I can see these.
The whole idea here is dignity. We also provide vocational training skills.
When everything is even, it all cooks at the same time.
By giving them the training that they need, they're actually empowered. We allow them to see the best in themselves.
My mom was really sick. I had no income coming in. I did not know what to do. A friend of mine was taking sewing classes. So I came and I got into the groove of it. I love making clothes, so that's income. And the man helped me to attain my high school diploma.
I walked across the stage with cap and gown, yes.
Oh my God, I'm gonna cry.
Yeah.
The help that they give people,
Thank you so much for everything.
it comes from now.
You want to go to college?
I'm really considering going to nursing school.
You know I'm a nurse.
Oh my goodness.
People just need an opportunity, and they need hope. That's what we do best.
They give me not just the food or the money, they give me emotion. Now I'm not alone. They're my family. I'm lucky.
How's your apprenticeship going?
Pretty good.
Are you learning a lot?
I have.
Good. Nurses are supposed to fix things. We are healers. And this is just a place that heals the world.
Hey, Carl. Yeah, heard you're going on a cruise this winter. Uh-huh. Where are you headed? Space. That's the kind of conversation envisioned by the company that designed this. It's a cruise ship-style space station that would orbit the Earth and act as a space port for researchers, astronauts, and tourists on their way to and from Earth. This is just a design at this point. You can't go there now. The company that created it wants it up and running by 2027. Sure, the accommodations will be out of this world, the beds like sleeping on a cloud, the experience like walking on air, the service otherworldly, the reservations wait-listed, and the view the best off-Earth. But you should definitely call on a satellite phone before you blast off and check in, because the cost could be astronomical, y'all. I'm Carl Azus for CNN 10.